Get it.
Live from the apocalypse, sponsored by Blackened Ranch, Popeye's Chicken. This is State of the Game. And Popeye's Chicken doesn't know they sponsor us, but they will. I'm putting that out.
Eventually, yeah.
Blackened Ranch goes with anything.
Oh, it's like you knew I was. It's like y'all knew I was coming today or something.
So I am your lovable host. I am Andrew Yang's favorite hip hop personality. Not my thing. I didn't make it that way. I don't know what to do with it. It's an award that doesn't breathe well. But I'm Dano, and heading up this starship, and with me to do this is we're talking about the Lothario of Lewiston.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
About K Diggy.
No,
He doesn't want to be the Lothario of Lewiston.
no.
No,
okay.
that's you for
No.
that's you forever, bro.
I'll take Auburn. At least the Lothario of Auburn, not loose. No.
You'll be upgrading to Auburn. But yeah, thank you for this. I want good news, Kay. My bracket lives. WNBA. I had the Aces and
Yes.
it's fun. So
It's been a great playoffs. On the side note, it's been a great playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Loved every game.
I'm with you. I have absolutely. So we have the Michael Corleone of the Pitchfork editorial team.
Holy shit!
We're talking about like the person who's going to get me a speaking spot in the DJ Booth documentary about that legendary team. Shout out Donna Claire.
Hey.
So we're talking about Cinema Sci, Dylan Green. I'm so happy to have you on.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Hello mio.
I love just hearing you talk. Just hearing you break shit down is exciting to me. And so I've really enjoyed it. And we did the So I wanted to ask you something. Before we get into this, our topic is Alicia Keys. We're going to talk about Alicia Keys. I feel like we're going to be the only ones who do. This is not something that's hot right now on the digital streets, but it's so what we do. We take chances. So, but before we get into that, we're going to talk. I wanted to ask you what to me has been the signature of your year in your music journalism. You've been like the hype mediator. You've stepped in when there are huge album releases that everybody loves, and you've kind of held both sides apart and said, hey, let's talk about this reasonably, And you did that with Big Crit. You did that with JID, The Forever Story, great write-ups.
Thank you.
And but like you were critical of albums that everybody loved. And how is it living in that space?
Oh, it's been kind of crazy. But before I get into that, thank y'all for having me back. De Lo Mio,
Absolutely.
I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy to be back because the first one we did was so crazy. But it's been strange. I've been thinking about it a lot just because like I like Jid. I think Jid is really cool. I've been on his thing the whole time. But or not the whole time, but like a reasonable amount of time. It's I just at the end of the day, I'm a critic. Like that's like my literal job is to like examine art in this particular way and just try to be I just try to be fair, like not everyone's gonna agree with me, and that's something that I've kind of like accepted. I accepted that a long time ago, that not everyone's gonna agree with what I have to say, and I just try to be as fair and as like not objective, because objectivity doesn't exist. It's interesting being in this spot. That's I think it's necessary for people in this position to just kind of like be as fair and as like once again, not objective because that doesn't exist, but just like just to be as fair and just kind of see things from as clear eye of view as possible, and try not to. I just try not to be mean. You know, that's all. I just try to give my opinion and not be mean about it, which is really hard to do. Every once in a while, you gotta be mean. I'm mean. I'm mean sometimes. Like, I'll admit it. But you know, I try really hard to just be like, hey, this is the stuff I like. This is the stuff I don't like, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's just it's been crazy scrolling through Twitter and seeing people react so strongly to this JID one in particular, because like I gave it a pretty good score, but people are still like it's not anything below a 9 is unforgivable, and I'm just like, I gave it a 7.3, which isn't like amazing, but it's like it's hard to get over 7s over there, you know.
Yeah, no, it is. No, it is.
You know, but it is what it is, you know.
But I think people have been saying it's like the Pitchfork 10 is a 7.3 kind of thing.
Yeah, nah, that's definitely what I've heard. But yeah, nah, you know, like shout out to everybody. I love having conversations. That's why I do what I do. I like talking to people, and I like talking about music. This shit matters to us. So I just want to kind of come in and, you know, offer, you know, like, I'm still just blown that anyone gives a shit about anything I have to say. So the fact that anybody would even feel the need, I haven't gotten any emails about the JID one yet, but like like people like email me about my reviews, and I'm like, wow, okay, like it's just I'll never get over being that I'll never get over being that exposed. You know, like I still get people banging my door down about Kanye and Black Star. You know, like it's yeah, it's been a year since Kanye, and I still get people complaining about that. Like,
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Shit is kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, we have fun. We do what we do, and I appreciate anybody who reads, even if it's a hate read. Fuck it, you know. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you for your eyes.
You don't like style on people. You're not trying to eviscerate. Like, shout out to the people like Pitchfork. People don't realize Pitchfork was founded on like super mean reviews, right?
Yeah.
That was their bread and butter. And like, so, and Kay, there's a Pitchfork writer, I think still writes and contributes at some points, that I only refer to as the Hammer, who comes in and just, you know, puts the hammer down on people trying to have too much fun. So, but people who've seen my Tanya Morgan interview know who that is. But
no, I get it. I mean, I think for healthy discourse on a topic, you need varying, varying perspectives. You know, I mean, if everyone has the same perspective, you're not going to have a healthy discourse. So right. I think any perspective, whether it's negative or positive, mean or nice, it's all contributing to the overall discourse, which is good for the topic, you know?
Right. Yeah. Totally. I agree 100%. And I've been mean before. Like, I don't know if y'all read my YB and Namir review for Visionland, but that's probably about as mean as I've been over there. Yeah. Well, no. The Black Star one was a little mean. But
and your Black Star appearance on Call Out Culture was fabulous.
Thank you. Shout out to Zilla, shout out to Curly, shout out to fucking Alaska. That was a good time.
Yep. That was you said they were like double platinum on Google Drive. They were something.
Oh, well, that
is.
I can't take credit for that. That was everybody was saying that, but yeah, it was. Yeah. Facts are facts. Come on,
hit them with the line. But yeah, no. So it's important to me. That's the line, right? Is there's the part where I stopped following people. There was time when, like, I think Tom Brehan was the only person I was reading years ago.
Shout out to Tom.
But like most people, like what'll happen is your personal brand becomes that you're a very tough editor or tough critic, right? Yeah. So with that personal brand, you just start hammering everybody, you know. And if I don't know what you like, I'm not interested in like, if all you do is dislike, I don't really need that. The internet is killing that, you know.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, no, it's you got to be a person sometimes. You can't
Well,
dislike everything.
Yeah, I mean,
disliking can't be your brand. It can't be your whole brand. Disliking things.
no. I mean, you got to figure out what's good out there and be able to
Mm-hmm.
say, this is an example of what went right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is great.
definitely.
Yeah, and here's why. But yeah, because people aren't looking for a critic that's right. They're looking for a critic that like lines up for them. There's some critics I follow who they'll write about something they hate, and I'll be like, I can't wait to listen to this because this is
Yeah,
the opposite person from me, and so I'm gonna love
right.
it. You know, and that's totally valid. You know,
Yeah, recognizing that's important too. Like knowing like you follow certain people who like not necessarily that you're gonna disagree with them, but that they're gonna offer something that challenges you a little bit more than just like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I love this, like, and that's cool because like there's like different levels to loving things, and you can get context and cool stuff from that. But it's like every once in a while we got to be challenged, like not
Absolutely.
all the time, but like it helps to have somebody who will like push you to look at something different by somebody that you love or even somebody you hate, like just like I don't know. Opinions are fluid like everything else in this world. So
Absolutely.
totally. And Kay, when I was a kid, I used to watch the Siskel and Ebert at the movie show,
Oh, that's
and
back in the '90s, man.
I remember as a young person being like, "Damn, Ebert loves every Disney movie." Like, I think I'm just gonna disregard when they start talking about Disney movies. Like, I don't give a shit.
everyone's got
Yeah,
soft spots, bro.
everybody,
Everyone has. Yeah,
Absolutely.
everyone does.
everybody, and so acknowledging that shit is huge. But yes, thank you for the year you've had. Um, like, you can kick us off here. We're going to talk about Alicia Keys. We should talk about how our opinion started with Alicia Keys. When you first came in contact with Alicia Keys, what did she mean to you?
Oh man. Wow. What a great question. So I so Fallen came out when I can't have been 10 years old when Fallen came out. So like I kind of came up with her in that way.
Mhm.
And like I heard the song. Um excuse me, my father got songs in A minor on CD, and we ran it into the ground. Like just like I could sit here and name the track list, but I'm not gonna do that. But like that was, like I kind of came into contact with her around the same time everyone did. Like when
Yeah.
Fallen happened, and when oh, why am I forgetting all the songs on this album now?
Ooh,
There's so many, but
That
just like either way, just like
those two,
she's
those,
woman's worth, right?
A Woman's Worth was
yeah.
on that album too, right? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. So yeah, just like there's, like I said, the album speaks for itself. But that was kind of my first exposure to her. I grew up playing piano, so I was kind
Mm.
of very drawn to seeing. I was very drawn to seeing, like a relatively young black person doing shit on the piano. That was dope to me.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And I just kind of really gravitated towards her. Like by the time the Diary of Alicia Keys came out, like that was kind of like my peak. Elite, or actually, no. The album after that was really crazy too.
As I
But
am.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, As I Am, that's some of my favorite songs ever are on that. Reckless Love is one of my favorite songs of all time. Um, but yeah, like I had like it was to the point where I had like her book of poetry. Like she had like a book of like
Oh, I
poetry that she
remember.
published,
Yeah.
and I bought that shit. And like we had when I was taking my piano lessons, one of the books I had was the piano book for the Diary of Alicia Keys. So like I was trying to learn how to play like If I Ain't Got You and What Goes Around, and what was some other stuff? Heartburn was one of my favorites too.
You don't
I
know my
Yeah.
name.
You Don't Know My Name, of course, the classic.
Uh,
Like, fucking most deaf drinking hot chocolate and eating fish at the diner, like a
Oh,
savage.
that's my favorite song interlude. Would it be a song interlude or a song? Like I don't even know what you would call that. The part
Call
where
it an
she calls
interlude,
them on the phone.
like a bridge. It's a bridge.
Bridge. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Oh,
Yeah.
bridge.
love
That's
that. Memorize that whole thing.
Yeah, that shit is so
oh,
beautiful. Yes, yeah. So like, I have really fond memories of coming up listening to Alicia Keys. I was,
Mhm.
yeah. I was a fan. I was a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like because what was that? Was that 01 when she popped off or
Yeah,
03?
01.
Yeah,
Like, so
it
yeah, I
was
was
right
fresh.
after September 11th, I think. Right? Maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
like I mean,
So yeah,
it was a relatively quick ex like ascent because I mean she popped off late 2001, and then they had the Grammys 2002, and she pretty much I don't know if she cleaned up, but she did very well in the Grammys. That's something that I distinctly remember. But I mean, for me, like the memory, like I think the memory that I most associate with Alicia Keys was the Falling video. I think 2001 was kind of the peak for me, was kind of the peak MTV era. So that they were playing that Fallen video like constantly.
Yeah,
what a song.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
like BET jams and shit. Yeah, yeah,
BET
yeah.
Jams, yeah. And so you had never seen like she was like first of all she dropped dead gorgeous, and we had never seen like I don't think my generation had seen anything like Alicia Keys. We had never seen anything like this artist.
Right. Yeah, like yeah, like especially in the sense that like, I actually reread my colleague Clover Hope, shout out to Clover, love you. She's an amazing editor over at Pitchfork. She did the Sunday review for Songs in A Minor. I think it was either at the beginning of this year or the end of last year.
That was
And she
last
mentioned that
2021. Yeah. Yeah.
right, okay. So like she reminded me that Alicia Keys is a classically trained pianist, but also played like all like the real she was very hip and of it at that moment too. So like
Yeah.
it was
Right.
like she kind of like brought that training but made it look cool, and like not like super duper corny. Like it really helped me appreciate that kind of music,
Mm-hmm.
like especially hearing her talk about it and just like the way she like it would like I don't know if I'd call it revolutionary, but it was like it definitely awoke something in me. It helped me understand and make connections a little easier. So shout out
I
to her
mean
for that, for real.
That's
the way
awesome.
she bridged the two worlds, because I remember like I don't know what video specifically or performance it was, but she was playing piano, and I'm pretty sure she's wearing Tim's. There was like a video where she was playing piano wearing Tim's, and we had never seen anything like that whatsoever.
Nah, never.
Never.
And you know what? I just remember something. Fun fact. You know who plays piano on "You Don't Know My Name"? You know who does the little
No.
I know
John
Kanye
Le-
produced it.
John Legend.
Johnny Legend.
Wow.
So at that point, he was a session musician, and he got booked to do the piano for "You Don't Know My Name." So that's him playing the piano on that song. Yeah, that
Hey, I saw
and that
John
and
Legend. I saw John Legend for $5 before he was on the Kanye stuff.
that's wild.
Came here
Asylum.
live at the piano,
Oh,
$5.
I wanted to go to that.
That's so crazy. Oh my
Oh, that
god.
was
She was dope. Yeah.
He came to my hometown. He played on my hometown, Montclair, New Jersey, 973 all day. A there was this old movie theater called the Wellmont that they turned into a concert venue, and he was one of the. I think he might have been the first act I saw there. He toured the album. It was his third one after Once Again. I can see the cover, but I can't remember the name. It was this album that had Green Light with Andre on it. Yes,
Evolver.
it I think that was it. Yeah.
Evolver.
So
Yeah.
he toured that, and my dad, my sister, and I went to the show. That shit was tight. He played Ordinary People, and everyone like the whole venue just shut down. Like he was, yeah,
Gorgeous song.
John Legend. Yeah, yeah. Like, there was a period of time where he like ruled the world. Like Get Lifted is once again, like still one of my favorite. Get Lifted is such an incredible record, bro, and not even
Absolutely.
just not even just because he's being a slut the whole time. Like it's just
Right,
like a
right.
great piece of music. Like it's just great top to bottom. Like what a fantastic debut.
Yeah.
But this isn't the
And
John Legend podcast. But yeah.
and you could make the case. I mean, when Get Lifted came out, what in 03?
Oh
Maybe
three, oh maybe
oh
oh
three,
four.
Yeah.
oh four. Maybe I think it's 04. Yeah, even 04. And I think Alicia Keys really because Dano he's mentioned this sentiment before. Like certain artists come along and help us understand the artists that come after them. I think the example he used was Prince and D'Angelo. And I think, you know, Alicia Keys really kind of paved the way for John Legend and really helped us.
Definitely.
You know, when we had Alicia Keys, it helped us understand John Legend when he came around.
And I wanted to shout out the proper, like, the father of that theory is Touré in his Prince book. Like, Touré, if you get that little Prince book, it's killer. And it has a lot of good stuff in there. So my relationship is very different with Alicia Keys. Because by the time 2001 comes around, I am in Korea. Like, I am in Tongdeshan, Korea, in the military, and I am like, I'm kind of a soul guy at that point. I'm kind of a head. Like, so I bump voodoo all day under military vehicles hiding from work. I bump Badu all night. You know, like I'm, you know, I get put on duty and listen to the Isley Brothers. Like that, I'm just very dialed into that shit. So when Alicia Keys comes in and starts giving interviews and going, you know, I'm very influenced by Donny Hathaway. I'm like, yeah, no shit, man. Like, so, I was very impressed. The stakes were pretty clear. I was like, oh shit, this has the potential to be a classically trained next generation Mary J. Blige. Like someone who is super relatable, who is one of the people, but brilliant, you know, a Carole King for that genre, you know, something like that. And over time, by the end of that 3-album series you mentioned, I started looking at her albums funny. I started saying, there's some mushy parts to these albums. There's amazing songs, and Alicia Keys' greatest hits is hard to fuck with, right?
Yeah.
But the albums had mushy, weird parts and songs that I didn't understand, and I just kept. I thought of her as spotty, like in that sense, not an album person, but a moment.
So, when did that start for you? Was it from the beginning or what?
Because
that's interesting.
The beginning, I mean, that album, it was just full of potential. We were just so excited.
Songs in A minor, yeah.
And the second album, I think, was probably, I considered a little bit better, but maybe a little top heavy. And As I Am, I remember thinking it was a very good step. But I think Element of Freedom, I was really not into.
Yeah, I won't cap. I had already checked out after As I Am. Not even because I like stopped caring. I had just moved on at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no offense or nothing. I just
I would say the same thing for me as well.
So I kept listening to her albums, trying to find the one, that was cohesive, that was coherent. And I sent like in the breakdown that performance, right? And that conversation really had an effect on me, right? And when I was heading up this poetry thing, I was on the board with this slam poetry thing. They watched Def Poetry Jam incessantly. Like, they had it all memorized. It was ridiculous. And so this guy's like, no, she's embarrassing. She's awkward. And I was like, what do you mean? And he put on that performance. He's like, look at her stumble out of the chair. Look at the fake drug stuff. Like, she's corny on some level. Like that was the point. And once he said that, I couldn't shake it.
That's rough. I've never seen that, so eek.
No, I think it kind of, for me, because I watched it yesterday. It kind of harkens back to, she's like a performer. Like, you think of like a Frank Sinatra, like that vein where they go on stage and they're performing. Like they have like an established persona, and then they're going on stage and they're acting out that persona. That's kind of what it came out to me, not necessarily corny, but like, look, like I'm on stage. I've got to invest in it. Like I'm gonna try to really sell this piece.
Mm.
Yeah.
Try hard. I wouldn't say corny, but if you want to go try hard, maybe.
Yeah, like earnest, like
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
Try hard makes
It's not natural. It wasn't like a natural type of thing. It was, I got to go on stage and I really want to act this out and I want them to feel these words that I'm saying.
Right. But now that we're talking about this, I just remembered because I'm scrolling through her Spotify right now. I forgot about the Unplugged album, which I really enjoyed.
Loved it.
And fucking there's an unreleased song on there called Unbreakable that
Yes.
at the time was really it hasn't aged the best. It still sounds great, but there's just like a lot of lines on there that are just like ugh.
A lot of old relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
but she mentioned
but like what?
She mentioned Bill and Camille, like it's hard, like
and Will and Jada too.
Will and Jada, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was
you
a
shouldn't
different
mention
time.
In the future. You shouldn't mention relationships in songs. You know what I mean? Like, don't mention couples in hip hop and R&B songs.
Yeah,
it doesn't age well.
That was the same thing happened when I was listening to Meg Thee Stallion, Something for the Hotties, because it's a song on there that talked about like getting dressed up like Kimye, and the song came out like a week after they broke up, and I was like, damn, that sucks. Like you could tell it was recorded like pretty recently, and I love that song too, and that project's great, but I was just like, eek, like you gotta chill sometimes.
Your topical reference is too topical. It's down the chain. For me, the contrast is Badu, right? I went on the Next Movement podcast. Shout out Rob and E. And I was repping.
Shout out.
I was repping Badu. I was repping the AD 2000 era Badu. What is it?
Baduism?
Green. No, the one after.
One after. One in 2000.
I could see the cover. Mama's Gun. It's called Mama's
Gun. Yes.
Yeah. I forgot. I was repping Mama's Gun, and one of my points was that Badu managed to take all the pressure of systemic misogyny and gays and flip it on you, and be so confident with who Badu is that shit rolled off.
Mm-hmm.
And with Alicia Keys, that weight was so heavy, felt so heavy on the presentation of her. Like, so to the Tim's point, right? She starts, she's at the piano in Tim's. Everyone in the audience has a crush on her. Everyone in America has a crush on her.
Yeah,
and you can see it. You can watch the rappers watching her and you can see them crushing, right? So, but the market is full of scantily clad singing ladies. So the pressure mounts. And there's something that my wife always says about Alicia Keys. She says, you should have stayed behind the piano.
Oh, man.
That there was a phase where Alicia Keys got out from behind the piano in spandex outfits, not really knowing how to dance, just kind of flexing a little bit.
And that's where the Mary J comparison kind of crystallizes for me, because she can't dance either. But like, she has fun with it and she kind of owns it,
Right.
Like, we all kind of look to Mary. We look to Auntie Mary to kind of do this shit, it's part of her image,
Absolutely. It's like watching your aunt at the family gathering, just breaking news. Like, okay, do your thing. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, come on.
You can't judge it. Like, go ahead. All right, I see you. Like,
but it felt like there was a pressure to get out from the piano, right? To be like, I'm a star. And what was so unique about her journey was that she was behind the piano, and that she was who she was behind the piano. And so that was my early read, I think.
And I think it kind of ties into, it, and it's a kind of like the same. It's funny because like, I think John Legend really is a mirror to Alicia Keys. Like the same issues I have with John Legend are kind of like the same issues that I have with A Keys. And I think it's, for me, with John Legend, like I look at it as he was the one that the establishment chose. And so when you're chosen from the gate by the establishment, that kind of puts like a lot of pressure and kind of warps the career path that you have. And I think from the gate, Alicia Keys was the one that was chosen by the establishment. And I think that kind of warped, that pressure kind of warped her career into something that was, where she kind of had to like kind of fight and battle her way to find out who she really was, apart from the expectations that were placed on her.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. And on top of that, it's just like I just kind of feel like after a while the music just kind of got watered down. Not that it started to feel less personal, but it just started to feel less her. Like she just kind of like as you go on, I never really gave, like, I'm sure there was like an album or two that I tried to listen to, but it's just like, I think I don't know about before, but I think around the time of New York State of Mind, or not New York State of Mind, the Jay-Z song, fucking
Yeah, that was New
like,
State of Mind.
Okay, right. So like, yeah, because
Empire State.
Right, Empire State of Mind. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
because New York State of Mind is Nas. But like I'm thinking like I hear that hook and I'm just like, oh, she crossed over. Like, she was like she was already like a crossover artist in that way. But at that point, it's like, oh, she hit another tax bracket. That's one of those, like, you're gonna hear that song in 50 years. And it's like once you hit that point, it's like there's almost no coming back from that. And just like you're you're the Empire State of Mind lady now, and it started like, I feel like it had started to reflect a little bit in the music before that, because of course she has like iconic hits, like, across her like first 3 projects that are just like dumb. They're gonna go stupid forever. But but that Empire State of Mind hook was like, oh, she's like, that's the point where it's like you have one of those and they put you, and like that puts you in like the upper room. Like, so
I mean, I was standing next to a DJ in a skeezy club in Maine during that time. Not all of that time, but during that time. And a very drunk woman came up to the DJ and said, "Can you play that Alicia Keys song?" And the DJ knew it was Empire State of Mind and shook his head and played it. It's like, it's a Jay-Z song. I just played it. But yeah,
shit, bro.
I mean, you could argue that was her crossover into pop. Because I mean, I think Fallen, I mean, was a huge song, but it was considered R&B. Like, I'm going through You Don't Know My Name, which is still classic R&B. What the Some People Want It All. What is that?
If I Ain't Got You. Yeah.
Which is like a classic R&B song.
Yep.
No One was kind of popish, but I think
No One was before that. I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But and that was kind of, I mean, No One was a pop song, but you're right, that Empire State of Mind, that was like a pop anthem. And that was, you're right. I agree with you. That was the point where she really like crossed over into another stratosphere.
So
right.
I would make the argument, Kay, that she was kind of in that stratosphere from the beginning, in the sense that, so to contrast with Badu, right? Baduism goes 3 times platinum. Mama's Gun goes platinum. Next one goes gold. From then on, she's doing Badu things. She's established. She doesn't have to worry about, being a giant corporation. If you look at according to Wikipedia, that first Songs in A minor went 7 times platinum.
Man.
Wow.
So there's like, my metric is that like going diamond ruins your life. Like, it's when you 10 times platinum, you don't come out of that good. Ask Meatloaf, you know,
or Eminem.
right? Those are the two. And Hootie, ask Hootie how it feels.
Oh my God, damn.
So they play you into the ground to the point where you hate your own music, you know?
Right.
And so 7 times platinum is not that far away from that. I feel like when she started, and being white, I probably shouldn't be able to talk about this, but she was in that bucket of people that are so likable that racist people don't remember they need to hate them.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like, I'm racist, but I love Derek Jeter. You know, like I'm racist,
and Darius Rucker, like you mentioned Hootie before. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think she was so accepted across demographics that she was hitting every demographic.
She was safe in that way.
Like, right. I mean, the establishment chose her, and they. I mean, watch her at the Grammys. You know, they were like, she was the one that they chose.
Yeah, they were ready. And you could even, but then again, she was also the type of person where, like, when y'all came to me with this Alicia Keys thing, I want y'all to know the first thing I thought about was her appearance with Jay-Z and Lil Mama at the VMAs, the year Empire State of Mind came out. And when Lil Mama came on the stage, and just like her and Jay trying to share space in this moment, and then Lil Mama comes in and just does her thing. Like, I don't know why I thought of that specifically. I don't think there's like any sort of grand point I'm trying to make, but it's just like it was just a moment, and I think about it all the time. But it's just like, by that point, you know, like, she was, sorry to cut you off, she was already I mean, like, maybe safe is the wrong word to describe the early stuff, but she was definitely very accepted and very likable in like that Will Smith type of mold, you know? Like, she was somebody that everybody loved, but like, but you know, like that moment was when it was like, all right, like, she's safe, you know, like, in the sense that, like, you could play your grandma Alicia Keys, you could play like an 8-year-old Alicia Keys, you could play somebody one of those songs, and they'll be like, yep, that's some darn good tunes right there, type shit. Like, you know, like, it would just be, yeah.
And I want to be clear that, like, that is not just a, like, skin tone thing. That is not a, like, you know, economic thing where she comes from. Her songwriting is amazing. She is a very
incredibly talented
songwriter.
Oh, totally.
And her voice is nuts. Her voice is totally nuts. So she earned that spot by the clarity of her work. A lot of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. There's other things swirling at that time as well.
Yeah. I mean, she just got to that point where, like, if you in like 2004 or 2003 said, you know, I don't like Alicia Keys, people be looking at you like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? You, like, how can you not like Alicia Keys?
Got no heart.
You know, like, there's got to be something, like, this guy's a little bit off, like, and you're right, not a lot of entertainers, celebrities get to that point where if you don't like them, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, you know, like, I think
that's very rarefied air.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, I think there was a little light skin favoritism that came with that too, as there often is. But at the same time, but, you know, like the quality of the work was there. You know, like the projects were good, the hits were crazy, and she just kind of took the shit and ran with it. And, you know, after a while, you start to notice that, like, there's that other, well, this kind of came way later after Empire State of Mind, but like around the time that she decided to stop wearing makeup, and there was that one moment of her at the piano where she just like screams and just goes completely out of pitch and like out of her range, and I'm just like, oh no, I've never heard that before, what's this, you know? Like, but I feel like I'm getting too ahead of myself.
But I mean, that's our transition point, right? Like, I think being Alicia Keys became too much, like, and I think this album is a byproduct of that, right? There's the original section, the Keys. We're talking about Keys is an album she released late last year, and she reissued in like April of this year, with additional songs, Lucky Day feature, and all that. And the more I listen to it, the more it becomes like one of my very favorite Alicia Keys things ever.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I
Yeah.
I agree, because this was like Keys. I don't know. She called it Keys 2. The one in April she released, she called Keys 2, but I'll just call it Keys.
Yep.
Keys was actually, that was the first full Alicia Keys project I listened to since 2003.
Oh wow.
And I mean, I listened to both the originals and the unlocked section side of it. And it made me really appreciate, like, and then I started to look at her discography. I mean, she's released 8 albums.
Yep.
Songs in A minor, 2001, Diary of Alicia Keys, 2003, As I Am, 2007, Element of Freedom, 2009, Girl on Fire, 12, Here, 2016, Alicia 2020, Keys 2021. So in 20 years, she's released 8 albums.
And I really didn't like Girl on Fire, people. I will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of R&B, she's been the most prolific in terms like top tier A-list R&B, I guess you could say. She's been one of the most prolific R&B artists of our generation.
She's been working.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else I'd put in that spot right now, but she's definitely up there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think he's got a point. There's a lot of people fading away in the R&B space, you know. A lot of, if you pulled up like the top R&B charts in 01 when she dropped, how many of those people are anywhere? You know what I mean?
I think I looked it up. I had so the top ones, India Arie was there, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson released Invincible.
Yeah.
In that era. So those were the people that she was competing with.
Yeah, and who can compete with the Jacksons? Like Michael and Janet Jackson, like come on. They were already like untouchable at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And Janet still is.
The Janet Jackson episode's another time, Kay.
I'm looking forward to that one.
I walked around my office, stood beside just saying like Janet's better than Michael, and everyone was so mad at me. I was just like, sit. I'm standing on myself.
An argument could be made. I don't know if I agree 100%, but an argument could be made. But Janet's better than Michael. You know, like, but then again, that's just like unstoppable force, immovable object. Like, no answer is wrong, but like, you know, like
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I understand. I mean, it's...
I real quick because it's on my mind. I was just I read I finished the Dilla book a couple months ago. Dilla Time, Dan Charnas's book, which is incredible. I don't know if y'all read it, but it's fucking fantastic.
Reading it now. Yeah.
Oh man, so like there's a section where oh man, what's Shorty's name from Flowetry? Marsha Ambrosius.
Yes.
So like there's a whole section in the book where like she's like a huge Dilla fan, and they would talk a little bit about Flowetry, and they talk about how like in some way, shape, or form, like she forms a relationship with Dilla, and that gets her a relationship with the Roots, and then that puts her in rooms with people like, oh please, I think it was Quincy Jones who put her in touch with Michael Jackson. And I didn't realize that Marsha Ambrosius was the person who wrote Butterflies for Michael Jackson. Like she wrote the melody and the lyrics to Butterflies. Like that's her song that she wrote for him. You know, like, and that's one of my favorite MJ songs ever. I love that fucking song, and I love Flowetry, and I love Marsha Ambrosius, but it's just like that was her, you know, like she did that. And once again, just learned it, head bust. Wild.
You're the second person who said that. Like that's one of their favorite MJ songs.
It's so good. It's such a gorgeous song. You know, like it's kind of sort of like the way You Make Me Feel 2.0 in the sense that it's a little creepy. You know, like definitely definitely the type of song that you couldn't and honestly shouldn't make now. But like, it's just, you know, it's Butterflies. I don't know. It's just one of those, like, it's just like a fact of life. You know, I hear it and I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know?
Yeah, and I think for Alicia Keys, like when you mentioned like the little mama at the award show and all this stuff, like Alicia Keys is a creature of moments. She's really good at crafting moments, and I didn't feel like there was any on the 2020 album.
Alicia, yeah.
Alicia, I didn't care much about it, but like, is it insane? Is a moment. Nat King Cole is a moment. Like,
yeah,
he really goes and into some special territory. And I was like talking to my wife about it. I was like, I wish I could give this album to everyone who keeps talking about Adele all the time. Like, you know how in hip hop circles there's a lot of like people just mad that Eminem gets as much recognition as he gets because he's not that good. I think there's a little pocket of that in Adele where there's people that are like hardcore repping for Adele, but I think Alicia Keys put out a better album than the last several Adele albums.
Last two, yeah.
COVID album that she made in her house. Like
this new one, you mean?
Yeah.
It's that good? Okay, because I haven't heard it yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think it helped me appreciate her a lot because I forgot how good she was. And I think hearing her, I mean, in particular, like, because the first part, to me, the way I interpret it, the first part are original. So it's like her raw ideas for the songs. And then the second part of the album, because it's a double album, the second part of the album is she gets like a hip hop producer, like I think Mike Will.I.am.
It's Mike Will made it.
Wow.
Mike Will made it.
Goes in and he reimagines these songs using elements of the originals.
What a rebrand. I never would have imagined Mike Will made it remixing Alicia Keys songs. That's not where I expected him to go.
It kind of makes sense to me. Like, you remember that Mike Will made it Beyonce song?
Oh yeah.
So
right.
apparently the story is that like that Beyonce's team called, said we want a song, and he was sitting there with Sway Lee, who Sway Lee in my imagination is just a machine of ideas, you know.
Very underrated, yeah.
And so Mike Will turned and said, "Hey, if you weren't going to write a Beyonce song, what would it be like?" And Sway Lee just started going, you know. And they wrote the Beyonce song, you know, tracked the whole deal, sent it to her, and it became what it became.
What was that? Flawless, right? Was that Flawless?
I thought it was Formation.
Yes, Formation.
Formation. Yeah. It was Formation.
Formation, yeah.
And like, I think that is, so I think Mike Will has been very interested in the R&B lane for a bit. So, and it's pretty wild. Like, he puts Lil Wayne with Alicia Keys on Nat King
Cole song, yeah.
And it's a pretty damn good Wayne verse for me. The first song, Plentiful, has a Pusha T verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see.
And Pusha T really says, shout out to Pusha T, who's unrelenting. Pusha T says, moving keys like Alicia.
I mean, that's
the joke writes itself, man. That line wrote itself.
That's such a layup. Like that's the easiest call you can make. Come on. I love it. It's great, but it's like, you know, you're shooting.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you got auto aim on at that point. Like that's a cheat code.
He never Push never blinks like at that whole, you're just doing coke rap. He's like, ha ha ha, boom, coke rap. He never blinks.
Love it.
It's
absolutely
awesome. It's
awesome. I appreciate that about him, honestly. He knows what he loves and he sticks to it. I appreciate that.
He's good at it.
Oh,
he's mastered it.
But yeah, those are the only two like features on the first side. The rest of it's all her, right? And the songwriting is, I mean, Old Memories, Billions. I mean, it's just, these are jams. And then it ends with a Black Coffee remix of In Common.
Shout out to Black Coffee. That's a name I
Black
haven't heard in
Coffee
a
and
while
Alicia
either.
Keys. Didn't think that would happen. But yeah, then they have the edition, the Khaled and Lucky Day edition, Come For Me. Lala with Sway Lee is wild.
That was one of my favorites.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, Alicia, like, that's what I love. Like, Alicia has, it's fascinating to me because I listen to like her collaborations. Like, she had a collaboration with Drake a couple of years ago, Unthinkable. Well, Drake wrote it. And then who did she? Brent Faiyaz. She had a collab with Brent Faiyaz a couple of months ago, where she was absolutely phenomenal on it.
Yep.
So she works well with the modern R&B. Like, she can coalesce with them very easily.
Right. From the most recent stuff I've heard, I could definitely agree with that because that Brent Faiyaz song was really good. She did something with somebody else. I'm really blanking on it right now. But no, she's like, I think that's a big part of the reason why she's been able to maintain relevancy in that way, because there's always like a few songs where she kind of extends her hand to the younger generation and like it just works. But then there are moments like, did y'all hear her on that last DMX album? Because that song was terrible.
Oh,
it was I wasn't a fan of that X album. I thought it was mostly pretty terrible and they shouldn't have released it. But like I could with the Alicia Keys song in particular, I could see the bones of an interesting idea, because like the two of them would seem like they might be a little bit compatible, but like the thing that made X so crazy is that he never had features on his albums. Like he didn't have featured artists, and they kind of went crazy with the features on Exodus. I think every track has at least one feature. And I just think like Alicia was definitely in her like generic pop bag, which is crazy because her husband executive produced the project. So there's definitely more of a level of investment there than there would be for anything else, at least I would think. But like, you hear stuff like that and I'm like, I don't need this. Like this is this is destined to be played in a Forever 21. And someone who's 8 years old is going to hear it and be like, what the fuck is this? And then they're going to have that memory implanted in their brain in 20 years and be like, oh yeah, I remember how good that song. Like it's one of those,
Right.
But like, you don't think about it
Oh.
until it's way out. But anyway, yeah.
But like Alicia Keys, it plays well with others in the right scope, right?
Definitely.
Like and that's because Brent Faiyaz, if Brent Faiyaz was a G.I. Joe character, he would be Zartan.
Oh shit. Wow.
He's like the Prince of Darkness. And
he's King Toxic.
So it was good to be able to mix with that and successfully carry it off.
Right.
Her and Lucky Day make more sense, in that mood and tone. But
right.
No, I love it, and I'm hoping the reason Keys is so important to me is because I really hope it is a part of a turn where, okay, the spotlight's not checking for me now, so I'm going to put out whatever I want.
I mean, I really think that that's her only play, because what I find fascinating about Alicia Keys is I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with what Alicia's doing. I just think, for me, I think what happened is the environment around her changed very quickly. Like, I look at, Girl on Fire was released in 2012, and then there was a break from Girl on Fire to Here, which came out in 2016. There was a 4-year gap. Right. In that 4-year gap, I feel like R&B completely changed.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the R&B that Alicia Keys knew in 2001, I would say really doesn't exist anymore.
Like not really. Yeah.
Like that tone, like I was listening to the Ari Lennox album that came out today.
Which is really
And
solid, yeah.
yeah, and you listen to the content that like Ari is singing about in 2020 too. Like it's completely different from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you listen to Alicia Keys, it's like she's such like a warmth. There's a warmth and a positivity to her that she can't turn off.
Yeah,
Right.
and like almost like and almost like a I feel like innocence isn't the right word, but it's just it's just like there's like a little more. It's like lighter, like
Yes.
like Alicia's sing. Like there's definitely like lust in the lyrics, but there's like nothing. There's nothing on any Alicia Keys album that hits the one line from Hoodie where Ari Lennox is talking about dreaming about how you taste.
Right.
Like that seems
Right.
like that seems so innocuous, but then like she's just like talking about just like raw dog fucking on songs, and that's like that's never really been Alicia Keys' MO,
Right.
which is fine, like not everybody, but like that, but Kay, that speaks to your point about how like, like R&B is a lot more. Like people are a lot more open about the stuff that they do, the stuff that they want, and the stuff that they need in R&B now. It's just like like it's almost expected that people are gonna be like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, are you with this or not?" Like from Ari Lennox to Brent Faiyaz to Summer Walker to even to Lucky Day, who's I guess Lucky Day is like I've been thinking about him a lot since he's been brought up, and he's kind of like he might be one of the closest examples to like a modern contemporary to someone like Alicia Keys. His stuff reminds me a lot of Alicia Keys's, but it's still a little more explicit, like there's like right, like there's definitely a big difference between even like actually no, I take it back because Reckless Love is even like Reckless Love is one of Alicia's more like explicit songs, but even Reckless Love isn't touching like the softest song on like Candy Drip,
Right.
like
Right.
like
100%.
so it's but I guess that's also to kind of correct myself in the sense that like Alicia definitely let herself get loose a little bit, but getting loose in 2007 is different from getting loose in 2022 when
Absolutely.
when like you were saying like the default setting is already like I'm sucking your dick on the carpet right now, which is great.
Right.
Like shout out to that. That's tight. But
like there was a level of sensuality, seduction back in the day. Like, it was funny. Like I was listening to Toni Braxton, "You're Making Me High Today," where I think she has a line where just the thought of you touching my private parts, like, there was a coyness that,
right.
and I think Alicia Keys lives in that era of R&B where there's coyness, there's seduction, there's sensuality, there's like I'm hiding my face and I'm talking behind the fan and I'm going to talk to you. That it just doesn't, like, I think you have artists like Ari Lennox. I think the Weeknd really kind of
absolutely
blew all of that out of the air. Like
he's the king of that shit.
Yes, it's a completely different R&B than she came up in.
And I got to credit. I got to credit Alicia because when she jumps on these songs, she doesn't jump on a Brent Faiyaz song and get spooky. Like she's still her. And she's not going to come on a Summer Walker song and start giving. That's not her deal. So she still stays within her range while appreciating what other people are doing, which I think is a very hard thing to do a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting to watch it, and it's interesting to see where she goes. When we talk about elder statesmen shifting, doing work for themselves, I don't know why this is the name that comes to mind, but DJ Quick comes to mind. DJ Quick was big all the way through rhymalism, rhythmalism, balance and options, Under the Influence. And then, Trauma happened in 2005. He had some people pass away, and it didn't do much, and he faded away. And he came back in 2011. In those 6 years, people totally forgot DJ Quick even exists.
Mm-hmm.
But he released the Book of David, which is an amazing album. And then in 2014, The Midnight Life. 2017, Rosencrantz with Problem. And he just started doing albums whenever he wanted to for himself.
Yeah.
High quality work. So if you're a DJ Quick fan, you can pull up recent DJ Quick and you'll enjoy it. It's good. And my hope is maybe that's what she'll be able to do.
I mean, I think she's gotten to a point where she's going to, because I look at Prince, like I look at Prince's career, and near the end, Prince just decided, like, look, I'm not worried about the numbers anymore. I have my career. I've got my Grammys. I've lived. I mean, I've been in the game for 20 years. I can just make the stuff that makes me happy,
Right,
and that I dig with, and I'll release it. And if people come onto it, that's fine. If they don't, whatever. I'll release another album. Maybe they'll like that. So I think she's earned that privilege where she's gotten to that point where she can make the music that she really feels in her soul that she would like to make.
I'd love that. That'd be great. What were you saying, Bill? Oop. Dylan may have an internet connection issue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Nah, she, damn. But, y'all can still hear me? Y'all can hear me okay? Ish? Am I back yet?
Yeah. Yeah,
You're getting there, yeah. Keep talking.
Okay. Oh, okay. So long story short, she definitely earned that. Like she's definitely at that point now where it's not like, like she doesn't need to change the game with every album release. Like I say this all the time, but like nobody needs to be Kanye West. Like not everybody needs to be like Kanye West, where they're just like completely changing themselves with every album release. She's definitely at that point where she's just kind of earned the right to do whatever she wants. And before I cut out, there was we were talking about like the sensuality versus like explicit sexuality thing, and the bridge between someone like an Alicia Keys and someone like a Brent Faiyaz. There's this Janet Jackson song from her album Demita Joe. There's two songs actually. There's one where she, like, the whole song is literally about her sucking somebody's dick in the back of a car, and like it ends with her like saying, like, it ends with her like having a thing in her mouth, and like she's like trying to talk to her, like this, and like somebody interviewed her about it, and they asked her like what she used, and she was like, I can't say that. And like,
wow.
So like I think it's interesting because like, yeah, I don't know what it was, but it's the whole Demita Joe thing is really interesting because that was also around the time when the Super Bowl thing happened, but another conversation. But yeah, just like like Alicia Keys has never had like a Demita Joe moment.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
She's at that point now where she could just kind of like remix the shit however she wants and just do interesting shit. And I feel like I don't feel like she's like over the hill or like she's not gonna put out another good album or anything. I've just kind of been indifferent to all the shit she's been dropping. I mean, outside of this new project, it's apparently y'all think is amazing. I'm definitely gonna go check it out now because I hadn't thought to before.
Ooh, the songwriting is
I think it was like some artists, like they get to a point like when you have early success, like Alicia Keys, they create an image, and then you have to spend. Not only do you have to like create new music, exciting music, now you kind of have to battle the image that they've created for you. Because every time they hear your music, they're going to be thinking that the image created. So I think Alicia Keys has really been, for the past, when was Here was released in 2016. So what is that, like 6 years? I don't
Six
know,
years.
8 years, 6 years. For the past 6-7 years, she's really been battling this image that has been placed on her.
Yeah, and it's the only built for Cuban links issue, like, right, like, stop holding me against your high school favorite album. Like, I'm trying to grow,
Right. But
yeah.
in her defense, she has more classic albums than Raekwon
Oh,
does.
no question. No question.
Ray, to me, Ray only has and you could maybe say Cuban Links too. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like he kind of, like he's not like a Ghostface, where Ghostface has like Ghostface has like 3 classic albums in my opinion. Ray has Cuban Links, but Cuban Links is like such a, Cuban Links is like unfadable, like all-time great shit, like he doesn't need another one. Same way GZA only has one classic, he doesn't need another one because Liquid Swords is fucking Liquid Swords. Right. But like Alicia Keys has Songs in A Minor and The Diary of Alicia Keys, which I think are both classic albums.
Great.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
That's an interesting comparison though, Dan. I hadn't thought about that before.
But no, that's the when you make an album that big, even if you're Nas, right, you're still going to be haunted by Illmatic. And that's what's going to happen, is because these albums are moments in people's lives, and they want to go back there. They want to go back to those moments, and you can't let yourself become a time machine for people. You've got to grow.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah, because if you try to do that, then you're just gonna get stagnant. Like Zelda.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, like, to go back to like
and like put out the same album 4 times a year and have people fuck with it. Like,
yep. I'm with that. That makes sense. Okay, what were we saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, to go back to a Janet Jackson, like, I think, you look at her and Michael, they were from the gate, they were raised and they were taught to really control the image. So Janet never was really, Janet, even though she's had major, huge success, was never really battling an image because she was always in control of that image from the gate. And so that allows her, to create a moment on Demeter Joe where whatever she's gargling, and it makes sense. And, like the great artists like that, like I think of a Madonna as well, like they have always controlled their image in a way that Alicia Keys has kind of struggled to.
Yeah, Madonna started. You remember that there's a famous, American Bandstand interview where the person after her first performance says, like, what are your goals as an artist? And she said, I want to take over the world. Like, from the beginning, she wanted to take over the world.
Right.
And if you listen to early Madonna, you can hear that intensity in her performance. You can hear, like, I want it all. Like, she had what Kanye had in terms of desire. But Alicia never did. And I wonder sometimes if she got to establish her own goals, like, or when she did, if she did, because it certainly wasn't on, in the mix of that giant success, right? It kept snowballing. I wonder when she was able to take the reins. That may be the no makeup, screaming out of pitch moment that you were talking about, Dylan. Yeah.
Doesn't really have like, well, I don't know that she doesn't have aspirations, but it's like trying to take songs and love songs and just make people feel good. Like, I feel like I've kind of betrayed my own sense of like I should have done a little more research, because I feel like I just feel like she just kind of does what she does, like that's kind of always the impression I've got. Definitely, like she's had like positive aspirations for like people in general, and but it's just like I just think at the end of the day, she just wants to make good music and just kind of is grateful for the ability to make good music and doesn't necessarily want to take over the world.
Uh,
But while she's here, she made a piano, you know, and
Absolutely.
that's kind of refreshing to me. I
Yep.
And
appreciate that.
and for me, like you can tell her love for the music. Like I mean, on this new Keys album, she has a sample. She samples Nat King Cole, but at the same time, she has a Sade sample on on it as well. So
Yeah.
you can tell that she's just someone who genuinely loves music and
Mm.
loves listening and loves creating music, and I can really hear that.
There's a lot of different, even though a lot of it is like sit down piano kind of
Right.
stripped down, there's still a lot of genres present, like jazz, 60s music,
Yeah,
dance music. There's still a lot of directions. And I think it's to your point, Dylan, about like Alicia Keys loves music. And she was always kind of legacy focused in terms of wanting to build like her legacy. And it wasn't necessarily about, you know,
Right.
the imprint or like how far the tentacles would reach. It was about at the end of the day, what am I going to be providing? You know, and she went big. She gave us moments, big moments that some people never get. You know,
Yeah.
So I love that. I think it's awesome. Does anybody have any closing thoughts before we go to the
she's really had an
recommendation
incredible
corner?
Can you hear
What's
me
up?
okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Beautiful. All right. So you know, so many artists would just like wish to have any like one moment as incredible as something like Fallen, you know, and to just like see her still be here and people still respect her and still be in a space to just make music the way she wants to is like beautiful. And you know, like Reckless Love is one of my favorite songs ever, and she's always gonna have that for me. Like she was like a formative artist for me. So to see her still be here and still kind of have some sense of longevity and not be like completely down and out is dope. You know, you really can't ask for more than that. So shout out to Alicia Keys.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Lauryn Hill a lot. I wrote that in the write up of like Lauryn Hill gave us that moment and then left, and then there were all these reports that Lauryn Hill has songs written on her bathroom walls that we'll never hear, and I'm like, I hate this. I want I love your music. I want to hear your music. This sucks. I get it. The
Right.
industry sucks, but I didn't do that. I bought your music and repped you. So like that Alicia is still providing music and will continually providing music to the generation she helped raise is really
Absolutely.
cool. Really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
recommendation corner. What a day for women. Killing it.
Hell yeah, bro.
Killing. So we're talking about, I'm gonna give you the three, right?
Let's
Sampa
hear
the
it.
Great.
Oh, bro.
As
I was
Above,
just listening
So
to her
Below.
album. It's good.
I listened to a lot of Sampa the Great, but I was not really a fan. I was trying to figure it out. It was kind of like, what kind of music is this? I don't really understand this. And this album just hit for me. I'm just like, this is it. This is fucking beautiful. I love it. So Ari Lennox, I'm a sucker for Ari Lennox. Love Ari Lennox.
That shit is solid.
So yeah, definitely Age, Sex, Location delivers. Shout out to Dreamville for dropping JID and then dropping this immediately and being like, this is our power players. We're doing it,
Right. Yeah, fuck
Absolutely.
it. Might as well strike while the iron's hot. Good for them. Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You don't lead with boss. You know what you're doing. So nothing wrong with boss. Shout out to boss. But the third is Sudan Archives.
Oh, yeah. I love Sudan Archives. I haven't heard the new project, but I love Sudan Archives.
This one is very much It's called Natural Brown Prom Queen, and it is very much like a full lean towards pop, right? But while doing that, the writing is very much about the kind of stuff we're talking about knowing your body, about skin tone and how it affects how people perceive you, how she feels about her career based on it. They're like, man, if I had lighter skin, I would have had that look, you know? And she explores these kind of topics, and it's really good. She's always really good. Sudan Archives she just has a different rhythm than everyone else, and I love it. So, yeah. What are you bumping? Cinema Sai.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking through my playlist right now just to be sure. So off top, I gotta shout out Baby Africa out of Inglewood. She's incredible. She put out this really dope project. I'm kind of late on it. It came out a month ago. It's called The Art of Geeking. And she for people who don't know, she was co-signed by Saweetie. They have a song together on that compilation she put out 2 years back. I forget the name of the song, but the song was fire. And that's how I got put onto her. But this new project is really dope. She's got like like she doesn't exactly make street rap, but it's kind of got a lot of her music has the same feel as stuff that's coming out of Detroit and the Bay right now. It's kind of like a mix of that, but it's like the subject matter is a little different. She's really interesting. I like her a lot. I like her voice. I like the beats she chooses, and she's just like brash and talks her shit. So like I'm all about that always. So Baby Africa's The Art of Geeking is probably my first one. I would say my second is this new Golden Boy Count Up album. Mr. Chicken 3. He's Golden Boy Count Up is somebody that I was actually just put onto a couple days ago by my guys Alphonse and Eric, Young God Eric. Shout out to Eric. He's amazing. Does really great YouTube interviews.
Awesome.
He's so Golden Boy's from Florida, and he just makes very country ass rap music. Like the album cover is him like in front of a chicken coop, like wearing like black Air Forces. It's that kind of shit. It's very like Kodak-ish, like very Kevin Gates type shit. Like it's dope. I'm fucking with it. There's a song on there called Jungle that might be one of my favorites of the year so far. I love it. I just love the way it feels. So definitely Golden Boy Count Up. And let me dig a bit. So I haven't heard her project. I haven't heard the whole project yet, but it just came out today, and I love the singles. Tia Kareen's album. If y'all aren't familiar with Tia Kareen, she's a rapper from North Carolina. She has a song with Kenny Beats that came out a couple years ago called Luigi that's incredible. But she put out this great song called Dipset earlier this year, and that's on the new album. It's called Can't Wait, and she's fantastic. Like she's gonna blow soon. I'm like surprised she isn't bigger than she is already. Like she's on her way to explode. So tap in with so yeah, those are my three: Tia Kareen, Golden Boy Count Up, and Baby Africa right now.
And we got so much more music coming, Kay, in this obscene year of great music. This is like round 6 of a 12-round fight. We're like
we're halfway through.
Yeah, we're like swollen lip. We're like the old guys rubbing us with Vaseline. That was my favorite.
Right.
Like,
one more thing. Sorry. I just remember. I want to plug one more.
Go ahead.
Samira Truth and J Words. They just put out a great project called Loading. For people who don't know, Samira Truth is from Chicago. J Words is from Jersey. Jersey's finest. She's an incredible producer, DJ. Love J Words. They put out a really great 6-track EP called Loading, and it's dope. There's a song on there called War that's one of the coolest minute and 52 seconds I've heard of a project all year. So shout out to Samira, shout out to J Words. That shit is solid. I think it's only on Bandcamp for now, but yeah, just had to put that out there. I just saw them play in Brooklyn last night, so I had to say something. Shout out to Samira and J Words.
And the other one, I guess, in that vein that I think of in that vein is the new Amani and Rabalu, I'll Be Right Black. That is dope.
I've been meaning to listen to that. That's on my list for the next shit. I love Amani. He's so fucking crazy.
Amani is
And
like
Rabalu, of course.
the
Yeah.
voice of a damn generation.
Yeah, man.
Incredible.
Him and Rabalu are fucking dope. Shout out to the both of them too. They're great.
They destroy. It's really fun. I really like it. And it just has nasty moments where you're just like, oh, this is screwface shit, but it's like a real shit. It's about real shit.
Man, I can't wait.
That.
That's how I felt about the Infinity Knives project too. Shout out to them as well. Yeah. Like it came out like I think maybe like 2-3 weeks
Brian
ago.
Eddles, Infinity Knives. Yep.
Infinity Knives and Brian Eddles. Shout out to them. They're both amazing too. Great project. Sorry.
State of the Game had that before lots of folks.
You heard it here first.
I reached out to book them before I had heard the full album. I heard the single. I saw the cover. I had heard Rhino XL, and I was like, "Let's talk. We need to talk."
Right. Yeah. No, I was just talking to them last week. I'm trying to bring Infinity Knives on to Real Notes at some point. So I think you actually just reminded me. I gotta reach out and like actually plan that for next week. So
send that email.
Thank you.
Yeah. Smart people.
Shout out to you for being on the post though, bro. That's fire. It's a great project.
I'm telling you, it's been good. And shout out to La Rocca for repping them hard last year. So yeah, and I was gonna say it's been great, but yeah, we still have Open Mike Eagle to come. We still have Luca releasing another project.
Yeah,
we still have so much more. I think we have a new Yeah Yeahs album coming at some point.
Yeah, we do.
This is gonna be bonkers. It's gonna be bonkers,
and potentially a new Danny Brown album too. They've been talking about that a little bit. Yeah, so maybe a new. Right? Yeah. Damn. Shout out to Wolf. Oh man, I can't wait for that. That single that he and DJ Lucas put out was nuts. That shit was beautiful.
It's gonna be too much. It's gonna be too much out there.
I'm ready.
But say it's been lovely. Kay, what are you recommending? You watching?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I love the ASL album. I think that, you know, when we were talking about the direction that R&B is going in, I think there was a lot of musicality to the album, and at the same time, it's got that modern, 2022 edge that we expect our R&B to have now.
Yeah.
I love. She had a song on the new album with Lucky Day that I thought was just phenomenal in terms of their chemistry. So that's kind of what I'll be bumping this weekend. ASL.
ASL. Age, sex, location, killing it on that. But I would say doing some plugs. We are moving our subscription base from WordPress to Patreon. So we're on WordPress. I started the subscription through WordPress because the basic thing is through WordPress, and it is a little like having an AOL email address. It's kind of old school.
Definitely.
And the interface with Patreon is so much better, so much easier. So I'm just reaching out to people, being like, "Hey, can you make the switch?" And I started this the very, very end of August. It's the 9th as of now, and we have 8 patrons in the Patreon space. So
wow,
it's pretty fucking good. I'm pretty happy about it. And people subscribing at higher tiers. Like when I started the subscription service, the highest tier was $5 a month. It was like, give me 40, you got a full year. It's probably $3. I was just like, give me a little thing. I wasn't ready to demand like money for what I do. And still shout out to Call Out Culture, who started their Patreon. And I said to my wife, if they can do it, I can do it.
There you go.
And I've made money because of that decision. So shout out to them.
Good shit, man. People care about what you do, so people care about what y'all do. So
I appreciate
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been fun. And follow Cinema Sci. on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen
And
to Real Notes.
yeah, please come fuck with us and talk about movies and shit.
I would say the weekly email that you send out of music
Ooh.
suggestions is, I mean, some weeks that's been like a lifesaver. Like I look forward to that every Friday, man. Every
Oh,
Friday
Thank
morning.
you. New Music Friday, man.
New-
Yeah, come over. I do that through Button Down, the newsletter service. So thank. Oh man, that means the world.
Yeah,
Those
because
are
I mean, you need in the environment that we're in, you really need, because like Dan said, there's so much music coming out every week. It's like it's almost relentless. So you need someone that's kind of like guiding you through it. Like, okay, this is what you should check out. So
right.
it's true
thank you
because
for that.
there's other accounts that'll be like, here's what's coming out tomorrow, but they'll give you like the hard knock hip hop stuff that's coming out tomorrow. So they're just like ST knocking out Davino and they're just like giving you that stuff. And I turned to my wife, I told her today, I was like, man, there's albums I miss because they're like Dan albums I'm looking forward to that no one else is, you know? I'm just like, oh, I can't wait till and I just forget. But like you catch all that, and I'm able to be like, yes, I got to do this. So I'm able to switch over.
Tell people how they subscribe to that.
So you go over to my site, which I guess I'll give y'all a link to, and then at the bottom of the newsletter, there's just a thing where you put in your email and you subscribe, and that's it. And it's crazy because like there's like a couple albums that came out today that I missed when I did this because I typically put the newsletter together as best I can before I go to sleep on Thursday night, Friday morning, and then I finish it before I send it out at 10 a.m. But this morning I put the whole thing together on like 2 hours of sleep. So I missed like three albums, but it is what it is. You know, like I you know, like I try. I don't get everything, but I try to get as much as I can. And you know, like it's treasure everywhere. So that's always my that's an important thing to me. Yeah,
everywhere.
man.
I mean, if I ever go on Real Notes, we're only talking about movies that were made from cartoon shows. Like
We'll make that happen, bro.
The G.I. Joe movie, the Transformers movie, the Bob's Burgers movie. We're locking in on that.
Oh yeah. No, I'm ready for that. We'll make that happen. Like as soon as possible, we'll make that happen. I promise you.
I could do 45 minutes on Cobra La right now, but talking about it. But yeah, patreon.com/Free Music Empire.
Let's go.
And thank you everyone who switched over and came through. It's been awesome. You know, we have some incredible MCs that are subscribers to what I do, and I can't say enough about that.
I love that for y'all, man. For real.
Absolutely.
So deserved.
Do it, man. But yeah, appreciate it all and enjoy.